What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. I'm fan service Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
The Halloween talks continue because it's October. They should just change it to Halloween month. Legit, word for word, Halloween month.
Halloween the 1st.
Y'all get the point. Halloween is still underway. Us weebs are still excited because the days are counting down. We're getting closer to Halloween. It's just the time for not just us, but normies to get their freak on.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait to go on a hayride.
Oh, whatever. Whatever. With that singles hayride.
If y'all listened last week, I am not excited to go on no hayride. Once again, I'm looking at activities going on in town locally, and downtown's going to be decorated for fall. Ooh, we're going to put corn stalks and bales of hay downtown.
That's fun for me, okay?
So you're going to bring the country into the city, even though the country is only 10 minutes outside of the city. Anyways.
Kiss you're that lazy.
Anyways, not trying to ruin whatever fall festivals y'all are into. Like Shauna, she enjoys the look and feel of fall. So that may be hay, corn, cows, a drunk farmer, whatever. That all fits in the fall Halloween look. Last week, I asked Shauna and the rest of y'all, what do you really enjoy about Halloween? I've been noticing everyone talking about, well, Halloween, I like to watch one horror movie a day. Well, Shauna and I already got to jump on that because on Halloween month eve, the last day of September, we watched 2 horror movies back to back.
We watched Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat is so slept on. I say Trick or Treat because it's not Trick or Treat. It's Trick ' treat. So look that up. When I first watched it, I'm like, this can't be from back in 2007 because I didn't even hear of it. And I wouldn't have heard of it had not one of the Halloween Horror Night themes had not been Trick or Treat. Like, even when I was at the maze, I'm like, is this a movie? Is this from something? Like, people were like, yeah, it's a movie from back in 2007.
It was a big part of Halloween Horror Nights because it was a big section where you got off the tram ride and you had to walk past all these areas, and the theme was Trick or Treat. I never saw the movie, so I'm like, is this just some generic, like, universal like thing? But no, after we watched the movie, it all made sense because other years they had the icons of horror movies. They had Chucky and Freddy and stuff like that. The stuff you've known since the 80s, but Trick or Treat was new to us. But anyways, we watched that movie and wow, is that such a good Halloween movie that people sleep on?
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone in the cosplay community even mention Trick or Treat. If y'all got HBO Max, check out Trick or Treat. It's kind of like 4 Goosebumps stories in one, but rated for mature. And that's what I loved about it. When the movie starts off, it tells you this is 4 stories entwined in one, and everything's happening in the same town. And it's kind of got a Pulp Fiction feel where it jumps back, like it tells you this story, and you see scenes from the other stories before you even know it's about the other stories. And they jump back and forth how all these things are happening at the same time in one night. Anyways, long story short, check out Trick or Treat. It's a dope-ass Halloween and horror film that so many people have slept on, including ourselves.
The other movie we watched is an Adam Sandler. Yeah, I know. Don't eye roll me. Please don't. I know. Adam Sandler is, he's a slapstick comedy kind of actor. But he produced this movie called Hubie Halloween, and that's on Netflix. Hubie Halloween is basically about, of course, Adam Sandler is playing the lead character. I wouldn't say slow. Like, would you describe this character as slow? Like,
no, he's just very into Halloween safety.
But I mean, like, his character, like, he's not all there. Like, he's really awkward, like, super, super awkward.
He's all there, but he's just awkward. He's socially awkward.
Yeah, I would say that. Okay, so slow is not the word. He's just really, really, like, dramatically, socially awkward. So
he's pretty much an otaku. In the sense of it.
The movie is based around Salem, Massachusetts, and Hubie, Adam Sandler's character, just loves Halloween for some reason. Like, this is his favorite holiday, even though he is painfully scared all the time. The townspeople, everybody in his neighborhood, always goes out of their way to scare him just for no reason because he can scare so easily, and they just think it's hilarious.
He's also obsessed with Halloween because his ancestors were one of the original Salem witches. That's why he takes it upon himself to make Halloween so important and to make it safe. So without spoiling the movie for y'all, that's the setup. I'll be the first to admit, I hate 80% of Adam Sandler movies from the beginning. I've never liked Adam Sandler humor. Honestly, I don't like Adam Sandler anything. I didn't like him on Saturday Night Live. I didn't like The Water Boy. I didn't like Happy Gilmore.
You didn't like The Longest Yard with Nelly and...
Yo. I did like The Longest Yard with Nelly, Burt Reynolds, Terry Crews. That was good. But when Adam Sandler is Adam Sandler, and he's like,
yeah.
I'm Adam Sandler.
That's why I couldn't describe it.
Water boy.
That's
every Adam Sandler movie ever.
That's why I was trying to say, like, it's not slow. It's you just described every Adam Sandler movie.
That's every Adam Sandler movie from the Happy Gilmore until now. He throws in a few movies where you can understand what he's saying, but I've hated Happy Gilmore production.
Oh, well, she didn't like Little Nicky?
No, I did not. I just hated it. I don't know why. It just wasn't my cup of tea, even when I was younger. And I still don't like most Adam Sandler movies now. So hot, wanna touch the hiney. That's sexual harassment, sir. Actually, that's sexual assault. You can't just touch a hiney because it's hot. And even as a kid, I never liked that. And fun fact, the teacher from Happy Gilmore was Sonya Blade in the first Mortal Kombat movie. So I don't know how she went from hot teacher to badass warrior in Mortal Kombat. But yo, y'all can do that research for yourself. But anyways.
I still have your stupid voice.
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler still dresses like he's a Jinko's kid from the 90s. But
I heard about that.
But Adam Sandler has had some movies I've liked. Like Hubie Halloween. I liked Grown Ups.
He was still playing that same character.
But for whatever reason, how he did Hubie Halloween, his character worked for me because he did have a lot of throwbacks to his classic movies. And for some reason, I remembered, oh, Doyle rules. And
I didn't even catch that.
Adam Sandler fans will remember that. But what I do give him credit for is he looks out for his homies. So every Adam Sandler movie always has a handful of Saturday Night Live cast members, such as Rob Schneider. Mm-hmm. He always looks out for the homie. So he always puts them in there. But for some reason, Hubie Halloween actually was enjoyable to me. So we definitely watched that. And 31 days of Halloween horror movies is already underway. Even before that, we started with Squid Games on Netflix.
Unintentionally.
We just saw it recommended as the #1 trending series on Netflix. One of our podcast listeners, Akuma Jin, was like, yo, y'all got to check out Squid Games. So we did.
Little do we know, because Akuma Jin, you be suggesting the most wildest things at the most random times. And I'm like, okay, this is just another one of those things. No. Shortly after we finished Squid Games, the internet was like, Squid Games. And we're like, okay, so this was actually like a thing.
Yeah, on that note, Akuma Jin is a diehard 80s horror fanatic, and Shana isn't that old. So she's like, I don't care about a lot of these 80s horror icons. Like, ooh, there's a guy in a hockey mask. Ooh, there's a gremlin.
I've seen a lot of those movies, but I just wasn't like, it's not a cult classic for me.
Yeah, because it's beyond Shauna's timeline. She's not that old to appreciate that shit. And there's been a lot of more scarier things than a guy in a hockey mask that died at camp. So Shauna doesn't care about those things. So when Akuma Jin was like, Squid Games, we're just like, And Shauna and I are kind of burnt on some of these Korean shows that have hit Netflix.
Some of them are good, but a lot of them are just the same cookie cutter. Oh,
yes.
No, my best friend is the doctor that's torturing me right now. Like,
So
again,
Parasite was good.
Parasite was
Parasite?
good. Parasite, oh my God.
Parasite hit you with some shit like, oh, damn, I didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah, I didn't know what Parasite was supposed to be about.
Yeah, and that's how they tell people to watch it. If you watch Parasite, don't read anything about it. Just watch it. So when the twists unfold, you enjoy it for what it is. Because if someone tells you what happens in Parasite, it ruins it.
Yeah.
Parasite blew my mind. Screw all the people who are like, why don't they put this English dub? Well, bitch, not every movie has to be an English dub. This is a Korean masterpiece, and y'all just got to enjoy it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that sets the standard high to every Korean show is good. After the success of Squid Games, everyone was so quick to be like, if you like Squid Games, check out these other Korean horror shows. No. That's just like saying, if you like fried rice, you'll like Japanese food, Korean food, Filipino food, and Thai food. No, Chinese fried rice is not any of those things. And everyone was just trying to be like, well, this is Korean, and that's on Netflix, so you're going to like it. Adam Sandler. No, it doesn't work that way.
That's what a lot of y'all sound like to me, though.
People were suggesting any Korean show that was horror or drama related on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And people were like, you gotta watch Home or Sweet Home. I forgot what it's called. I watched that series. I'll be the first to say Home Sweet was overrated. As much as I like the whole Resident Evil, someone gets turned into a creature genre, I'm a diehard Resident Evil fan. I have played every Resident Evil since PlayStation 1.
Damn.
I'm talking long box edition of PlayStation 1 games before they, put them in the general CD size box. Long box, Resident Evil 1, all right?
Long box energy.
Exactly, long box energy. Watching Home Sweet on Netflix, though it was dubbed in English.
Sweet Home? Or
Sweet Home, Home Sweet, Sweet, whatever. It's on Netflix. It's a Korean show. Dubbed in English. Sweet Home, Home Sweet. For those that don't know, it's about people trapped in this apartment complex. Out of nowhere, something happens and people start turning into Resident Evil type creatures. There's this super strong monster thing. There's this other thing with super long arms. And it's pretty much Resident Evil monsters, right? They're just trying to survive, figure it out, and get out of it. What I didn't like was the extra emphasis on K-drama. I know a lot of people love K-drama, so maybe that's the thing. It's just like, I'm trying to watch a survival horror show. I don't really care about someone's backstory, about how they were in love with their husband, but their husband cheated on them. Mm-hmm. And there's like 2 episodes about a husband that was a shitty husband, but yet she wants to unfold the truth because her husband was a scientist. It's like, no, just give me the Resident Evil shit. Just tell me how they're going to get out of this. And long story short, there was just a bunch of K-drama stuff that overwhelmed the survival horror spooky shit. I got to the very last 2 episodes and I quit. Mm-hmm. I used to watch this series when I was doing laundry because that's my excuse to watch bullshit. As y'all know, Shana and I stay super busy, so I'm not just sitting there trying to binge watch it. Watching Home Sweet, Sweet Home Korean Alabama, whatever the hell this show's called nowadays.
Sweet Home Korean Alabama. What?
It was just boring. As much as I love this genre, it got boring. It had all the tropes of the unexpected loser, that's the hero. The guy with the glasses, that's the anime villain. It's like the bitchy cute girl. Like, come on, man. So for those that love Squid Game, don't watch Home Sweet Alabama Korean edition. It's not worth your time.
I mean, you just described a lot of Squid Game characters, but anyways.
Exactly. It's these Korean drama tropes. It's always, this guy's the antagonist and you don't like him. This guy seems to be the guy you're supposed to like, but he ends up being the guy you hate. And then there's some random bitchy cute girl. And there's some random heroic guy that's not cute, but you root for him anyway, and he dies. From just these few Korean Netflix shows I've watched, it's like, damn, y'all have burnt these stereotypes out.
Man, but speaking of Korean shows, though, that are supposed to be scary and shit, since we on the subject, Kingdom. Kingdom is a zombie movie that's set in like I don't know what the periods are called in Korea, forgive me, but it's set in like the olden, like their samurai period. I don't want to. They're not samurai, but
samurai's Japanese.
Their version of you know what I'm talking about. Like I don't know what
in
it's
that
called
era.
Korea.
Yeah, in
that era. I don't know what it's called. Don't call me ignorant. I just don't know. But anyways, that show is so good, and I wish they would hurry up and give us the 3rd season or whatever season they're on right now because I need to see more.
Yes, Shana is on point. Kingdom. And my bald head. Kingdom is on some other shit. A lot of people like Walking Dead. Well, whatever. Walking Dead set in modern times, but Kingdom is set in this ancient feudal era of Korea.
There you go, feudal. Why did I even remember that?
Where they got swords only. If y'all watch a lot of Asian horror movies, there is some cultural references to it, how they describe how some of these monsters are. And what I loved about Kingdom was they took a different take on the whole quote-unquote zombie, undead kind of genre because me being from Southeast Asia, which is nowhere near Korea, we're the jungle Asians and they're the light-skinned Asians, but I liked how their take on some of the zombies and the undead were similar to ours.
Yeah.
And not to give it away, but they're active or not active during certain times of the day. And that's what I've been told in my culture. So I'm like, oh shit. So they share some of the same ideas we have. Just how they do the take on these zombie-like creatures is nothing like we've ever seen in American cinema. How they sprinkle in the Korean drama is good. It's not too much. It's not overbearing. So if y'all haven't watched Kingdom on Netflix, it's a Korean show, but it's dubbed in English and it's dubbed well. Because there was times where I'm like, are they actually speaking English? And Sean would be like, no, they're speaking Korean. But they dubbed it so well that it's not super obvious. So Kingdom, yes. That is a great example of K-drama mixed with horror.
The best thing that I love about Kingdom, though, is their little take on their hierarchy period, where there's like kings, there's queens, and a lot of that drama is sparked between like the kingdoms. That's why it's called Kingdom, because it's centered around the royal family, and the whole like zombie thing is like twisted into that, and it's like, oh, I don't want to give it away because it's juicy. It is juicy. It's a juicy, rare piece of steak. You need to watch Kingdom. I am not the spokesperson. This is not sponsored. No. And I'm not talking about the movie because there's a Kingdom movie on Netflix as well. I'm not talking about the movie. I am talking about the show. Do us all a favor. Look it up. Watch it. Binge it. If you on that Squid Game Korean drama thing right now, Kingdom.
Yeah, you get a little bit of Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, but in a good mashup. Like, that is the best example. They cut out all the extra bullshit and backstory that you didn't want to hear about Game of Thrones and Walking Dead and just give you a great mashup.
Man, they just throw it at you.
Yeah. And on top of that, the cinematography of the action sequences is out of control. Like, y'all watch K-pop videos and they're just wild. Put that same idea into a TV series, because like just what they do is just so masterpiece. And again, so many people slept on that too. Yeah. But everyone's on this Squid Game shit because you know why? Because they can cosplay it.
Yeah.
That's why our peers are just like, oh, Squid Game. Because let's be honest, a lot of cosplayers only hype up shit they can cosplay from. But nobody says shit about Kingdom. But Kingdom, if you like zombie and horror shit, oh my God, it's probably, to me, it's probably better than Walking Dead. It's just Walking Dead has gone on for so long. You felt an attachment to the characters. Yeah. But if Kingdom has had the same lifeline as Walking Dead, you would love it too. Because it takes place in the feudal era that you don't see a lot of like zombie kind of movies from. And after you watch it, zombies is kind of like an insult to what they portray these things as.
They went all out. The costumes are immaculate. They are so beautiful. The whole show is so beautiful. The way it was shot, the color schemes, everything. So do us all a favor. Watch it.
Yeah. Some of the things they showed in this series were things I heard about in my childhood, in my culture. And my parents never talked about any other culture but ours. And it's like, oh shit. So it made me think like, this shit is real if multiple Asian cultures are expressing the same ideas on film. Because if you watch Thai horror movies, they're totally different than Korean horror movies. But just to see these two themes being shared,
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss indeed. And Squid Game, yeah, y'all gotta watch Squid Game. It's only a few episodes. We binged it all in one day, except for the final episode.
I was actually sitting next to him playing a video game because I was trying to play the DLC for Fallout 4 because I didn't play all of them. But anyway, long story short, I was just minding my own business at a family barbecue. And then he's next to me watching Squid Game. And like every once in a while, I'll look over and see what's going on because it's dubbed in English. So I'm hearing what's going on. And I'm like, he said what? And I'm like, going to play a game. I'm like, he did what? And I'm like watching like that very first episode. I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but I'm like watching the episode. I'm like, oh, like at some point I put my game to the side. I'm just like squared up, just watching this thing, like watching it next to Renji. And I wasn't even trying to be into it like that, but it's because things like kept catching my eye. I'm like, I was invested. I had to watch the entire thing.
Yeah. And Shana, for the record, doesn't like to watch a lot of things I watch because Shana doesn't believe the hype. I will take a chance and watch something my peers will hype up, but Shana be like, that's bullshit, that's bullshit. And 80% of the time, she'd be like, yeah, that sucks. I'm glad I didn't watch it. We don't have the same taste in those kind of things. So when I was like, I'm going to check out Squid Games, Shana was like, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to play Fallout. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I started watching it. I was like, holy shit. And then Shana knows me very well. I do not sit and marathon anything.
Nothing.
After episode 1, I watched every episode and saved the season finale till the next day. No, for 2 days later because we had shit to do.
Yeah.
Because I had to edit video. We had to get work done. Yeah.
We had to get off the couch eventually.
We had just got back from Ramen Con, and this was my just chill and relax day. But even though I was supposed to chill and relax, I thought I was going to edit my Ramen Con vlog. Nope, that did not happen. I watched one episode of Squid Games, and 7 hours later, I was like, shit, Shauna, I'm still on the couch. And she's like, yeah, so you want to finish the series? It was like 4 a.m. I'm like, no. We got to go to bed because we got shit to do tomorrow.
It was like that TikTok video when like you're watching something, you're into it, and then you see the sun come up and the birds are chirping. You're like, I effed up. I effed up. Oh, no.
It's like that meme.
Us.
It's like that meme where the Inuyasha end credits come on because you stayed up too late on Cartoon Network. That's what it was. And we had to go to bed that night. Like, we've been up all day. Like, tonight was supposed to be our night to relax and reset because of being guests at Ramen Con, but we watched all of Squid Games except for the finale.
Our eyes are bleeding.
Yeah, we're like, you want to watch it?
I stole your bag of chips, started watching it, eating chips.
Yo, but y'all gotta check out Squid Games because it's not that many episodes. It'll go by quick, trust and believe. And it's all in English. It's an easy watch. You can watch it while doing other things, but when the quote-unquote action sequences start happening, watch it.
Yeah.
When the game sequences happen, watch it. You can like listen while they're doing like the drama parts because like all these Korean shows include their soap opera drama and you know you can get work done. But when the game part happens, watch it.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to rock some Squid Game Halloween costumes, we taking commissions for the frontman mask and the soldier mask. I don't have it here with me, but we taking a limited amount of commissions for the frontman and the soldier mask. Both will be 3D printed out of plastic. Y'all just got to get yourself the hooded jacket or the pink jumpsuit, and y'all could be rocking some Squid Game costumes for Halloween or whatever cons, because I'm sure by the time you hear this podcast, Squid Game is going to be ringing your ears amongst your peers. If you don't know, now you know. Definitely worth a watch. We jumping on it right now. I already got my front man mask. Y'all don't know who he is yet until y'all watch it, but yo, if y'all want these commissions, let me know now. Another way to support your boy. We trying to get into this 3D printing world. So this is going to be available on the Etsy shop that we mentioned last week. So make sure y'all hit me up or just DM me if you want to do it old school and meet at the grocery store behind the alley. I got you. I got you. You give me the money. I got the mask for y'all.
Y'all family now.
Y'all family now. So you better buy something from us.
You better.
You better. Rolling on this topic of Halloween horror favorites, rewatching some of these movies as an adult, I'm coming to find out they're very whack. Things I used to be scared of, I'm like, why? Okay, let's start with Friday the 13th, Jason.
Okay.
So the story of Jason Voorhees, for some of y'all younger folks that don't know or wasted your time watching Friday the 13th movies, his story begins at Camp Crystal Lake. He was a camper who was physically deformed. Everyone treated him like shit. He drowned in the lake. Somehow he magically comes back to life and just murders everyone at the camp. The twist from the original Friday the 13th movie is, sorry, spoiler alert, the killer is his mom. His mom is taking vengeance on all the camp counselors and just anyone at the camp for the murder of her son, which really isn't a murder. Her son just drowned and nobody gave a shit because he was deformed. So she's the murderer behind the mask. And then Friday the 13th, 2 through 3 zillion, I forgot when they stopped at. I think they stopped at Jason Goes to Space. They're pretty much slasher movies. The second one was the first one that introduced him as the actual killer and not his mom. And people forget that. A lot of people think, even as a kid, that didn't scare me. That's just a person. So this guy drowned and for some reason grew up in the lake and came back as a buff-ass man, and now he's killing people? Like, how's that scary? Because he's still a person. And at some point, you can do something with him. You may not be able to kill him, but, like, can't you put him in jail or something and he can't, like, break the bars? Have you watched a lot of Friday the 13th movies? Are you scared of Jason, Shauna? You're from Chicago, all right? Chicago has a lot of scary shit. Are you afraid of a white, deformed man in a mask? A hockey mask?
No.
Ooh. Remix.
My life was scary enough back then. So a lot
Start
of
with Jason. Don't say a lot. Start with just Jason himself.
But I'm saying a lot of those cult classic movies didn't scare me because I had high standards even as a kid. But something like Friday the 13th, it wasn't scary to me because I like ghosts. I like demons. I like witches. I don't like serial killers or dead serial killers for that matter. Like that thrillers in that way, like they're entertaining movies, but they don't necessarily scare me. And even a lot of like horror genres don't really scare me. But Friday the 13th definitely did not scare me at all, one bit or whatsoever.
It was pretty much a white dude that rose from the lake or the grave and was killing campers. And honestly, when you watch these movies, one of the golden rules was if you have sex, you die.
Yeah, that's a big thing that turned me off from those movies because it was very sexualized, grotesque, 80s nudity. Like, how am I supposed to be scared about that?
You show your titties, you end up shitty, and now you're dead.
What?
Or give some head,
now
wind
you
up
dead.
Yep.
Give some head, now you dead.
Easier rhyme right there. That's all these Friday the 13th movies showed. Every single one of them, as far as I can remember, you have sex, you die.
And I get the premise. It's like the people that were like the camp counselors and everybody that was there were too distracted to give a damn about some kid drowning in a lake. Like they were off having sex, they were off doing their thing and not paying attention. And so I get that. But to base the entire movie, like at some point, I don't know which movie it was, but there was a lot of sex in one of the movies.
Yo, they literally had sex through every movie up until the very end. Freddy versus Jason to Jason Goes to Space.
Okay, so the one I'm talking about, or the one I remember, is probably the Freddy versus Jason, because that was kind of the newer one that I had seen back in the day. But speaking of that, one of the characters that was getting caught up having sex with big old fake titties was a girl from Goosebumps, from the classic Goosebumps. She was in the very first season. I think it was episode 3 about the sponge underneath the sink. Yeah, she was the kid in that episode. And then she's all grown up in Freddy vs. Jason with big old fake titties, getting caught up having sex, and she gets killed by Jason. I'm like, I thought I recognized her from something. I'm like, I've seen you somewhere. Looked up her bio, like what she's done in the past. I'm like, oh, you was on Goosebumps. You were a kid. Like, that's kind of, like at the same time, it's like she grew up and now she's all on Freddy vs. Jason getting caught up.
Don't get it twisted with these Disney stars. Look at Lindsay Lohan.
Goosebumps isn't Disney.
I know, but Lindsay Lohan was a Disney star.
Yeah, true.
Look at a lot of these childhood stars that out there just letting it all hang out. But anyways, don't sleep on these Goosebumps cast. Wasn't Scarlett Johansson in a Goosebumps episode?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
way back in the day.
So a lot of people started on Goosebumps. Actually, Scarlett Johansson was in Goosebumps and Eight-Legged Freaks.
Yeah.
She was in a lot of shitty-ass movies before she became Black Widow. So, an opportunity is an opportunity is an opportunity. You never know where it's going to lead you to.
Exactly.
But anyways, a lot of these like old horror icons either didn't scare me at all. Like Jason never scared me. I just thought that was kind of corny because he was just out there beatboxing in the woods like it's like like who is your hype man beatboxing for you? Why you out there trying to kill people? And I don't know if people in the 80s were that much easily scared, but when I watched that stuff as a kid, I'm just like, all right, at the end of the day, he's just some white dude in a hockey mask.
That's all I saw it as. Like, don't get me wrong, serial killers are scary, but when it comes to horror genre, that's not really on my plate to like watch, to be scared. I watch it for like the cult classic aspects, but like to be scared though, nah.
Yeah, when you go back and watch some of these movies that scared you as a kid, but then you watch them as an adult, you're like, wow, it's kind of corny, really. And that's why in last week's episode, when we were talking about Universal Studios, some of the themes didn't scare me when they had Jason, for example. I'm just like,
It's for the older people.
Yeah, but still.
like when they have to take their kids to these things, it's like there's something for everybody. I get that, but it's not scary per se.
Yeah. Michael Myers is another one of these 80s horror classic where he's this stoic killer that just walks as slow as a grandma in the mall on a Sunday afternoon, and he catches up with you every time. The story of Michael Myers, he's just this guy that got locked up and he escapes and he comes back to his hometown and he kills people, and for some reason he wants to kill his sister, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. It wasn't until Rob Zombie did a Halloween movie where it finally explored Michael Myers' past as a kid. And if y'all haven't seen that movie, Rob Zombie's Michael Myers, that is a great movie. All the other Michael Myers movie, unless you're some 80s horror simp, bullshit, honestly.
I haven't seen it. Or at least I don't remember seeing it.
You weren't even alive when the Michael Myers movies were coming out, so I don't expect you to have seen it. But to my boy Akumajin, who's an 80s horror movie buff, he would be like, what do you mean you haven't seen Michael Myers?
He's going to be mad at me.
Well, not everyone is as old, all right? So they haven't seen some of these movies. Anyways.
I want to see it, though. Now that you say that.
Yeah.
Tonight. We're watching that shit tonight.
The original Michael Myers, Jamie Lee Curtis, was the main damsel in distress, for lack of better words, that Michael Myers came after, the newest one. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much Jamie Lee Curtis gets terrorized by her brother who's locked up in this insane asylum, whatever. He's trying to kill her. Now, fast forward to the latest movie, it's like so many years later, she's preparing for the day he gets out of the mental asylum. Mm-hmm. She's been preparing for him to get out. And that's where the movie takes place. She knows he's locked up, but she doesn't trust that he's going to be locked up because he's this super powered psycho killer. So that's where the movie ensues. Of course, he gets out. Mm-hmm. That's all Shana knows. Shana has only seen when he gets out. She's never seen the previous movies before that.
I guess not, because a lot of those cult classics, I had to still catch up on to this day. I didn't watch them back then, or I wasn't alive back then, so I couldn't have. It never registered to like watch them. But anyways,
they're just very generic. It's like, okay, you got this stoic serial killer, and is he human or is he supernatural? But at the very end of the day, if they're not human and they can't die, you could still put him in a jail and he can't get out unless he got super strength. So that's the thing with like Michael Myers and Jason. Like you could tie him up with a rope and drag him behind a pickup truck for days and he's still going to be there. Throw him in a hole. He can't get out. You can just watch him in that hole, put him in a cement block. But again, he can't die. Okay, he can't die, but that doesn't mean he can't get restrained.
And then the closer you get to him, the louder the theme music gets.
Yo, Michael Myers had them beats, though.
That was a good song, though.
Yo, the Michael Myers Halloween theme goes hard no matter when you hear it.
I know, yeah.
That shit goes hard. But Jason...
Hey, somebody can remix that, though, and like make it to like dubstep or something. I don't know.
But when Michael Myers dropped with that piano solo and the bass, dun, dun, yo, Shana, drop the piano. Dun, dun. That shit goes hard.
Yeah, it does.
I love the Michael Myers theme. Okay, let's go to another classic 80s horror icon, Leatherface. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Hey, that shit scared me though.
Yo, that shit is scary because
that shit scared me.
Because that is rural America. That is most of America. A bunch of slap-jaw yokels from the countryside that you know nothing about. And for some reason, Leatherface is this super buffed-ass hillbilly that just don't feel no pain. We're going back to my boy Machine Gun Joe from last week's episode. His family, straight out Arkansas, and they all scare me. From his dad to his mom to him. Yo, much respect to y'all. I love his mom. She has a Norma Bates vibe, and she has definitely breeded a serial killer. And I'm glad I haven't been in contact with him since 2011 when he happened to show up at a performance I was doing, but I'll save that for another story. But anyways, that family has scared me, and from what I've heard, they've moved back to Arkansas. But that Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit is something I can see really happening because they weren't supernatural.
Yeah.
They were just a crazy redneck family just out to get people in Texas.
Supernatural Brothers said it best. Ghosts and demons I can deal with, but humans are just crazy.
2020, if y'all need a better reminder, humans are crazy. That's what hit me about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I didn't watch any of the 80s ones because, again, I just put that in the Jason, Michael Myers category. But I did watch the modern day version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre starring Jessica Biel and Trey Songz.
Yeah.
They remade that series in such a beautiful way that it wasn't corny. I wasn't a Jessica Biel fan. Yes, that's Justin Timberlake's baby mama and wife. But I just gave it a chance because I always wanted to. Even the sequel they did with Jordana Brewster. Y'all may know her from Fast and the Furious, Dom's sister.
Mia Toretto.
Shout out to Fast and Furious. Love that series, as corny as it is. Even Jordana Brewster's sequel was good.
Yeah.
And that's rare. That's rare for a remake to have a good remake and a sequel.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what they did to that movie, but it was amazing. Like, I saw it back. Whenever it came out, I saw it back then. And I think Blockbuster was still a thing, not to date myself, but like I remember renting it. It scared the crap out of me. And again, with the sound effects, that movie, for some reason, like the way it started out, it was like the police had raided Leatherface's wherever he lived and wherever he was doing this shit at. And like they were taking pictures with like this really old camera and it made that sound like and it was like a really scary sound. I can't imitate it that well. It's not. Don't listen to me. Just watch the movie. But it was like the sound effects just made it all that more sickening for me. And I was like, oh my God, they did their damn thing with this movie.
To that, at the end of the original remake, the end credits had actual footage from the investigation. And that's what made it so creepy. They had real life police footage.
That's what made it creepy.
Yeah.
But along with that sound effect, with how it sounded, it tied in so beautifully.
I didn't know that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was based on a real story. And after seeing the end credits, I'm just like, oh shit, like this shit was real. And that's what made The Conjuring so scary for us, because that was based on real shit from your favorite paranormal investigators.
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Let's give some air horns to Ed and Lorraine Warren for doing their damn supernatural thing.
Oh my God. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because I didn't know like who it was supposed to be based off of, but then later on throughout life, I started going down these like YouTube rabbit holes. And long story short, it's this killer from way back in the day. His name was Edward Gein, and he did kill people and then skin them and made furniture from their skin. He had everything from light shades made out of skin. He had belt buckles made out of bones. He had earlobes that he made into like, I don't even know. Like he just had like so much. The thing that they didn't put in the movies, but he had this iconic cauldron, like a witch's cauldron, where he would put people's body parts and remains into this cauldron, and like literally like a witch was like like in his front lawn stirring this pot full of remains, and that he would just sit there and make curtains and shit out of people. I'm like, now that's some shit right there.
When it comes to real life shit, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I had friends like a Machine Gun Joe and his Arkansas family, and I'm not surprised that people out in the sticks would do that shit. Not to disrespect Texas and shit like that. I've never been to Texas, but Texas is a big ass state, so I don't know what kind of crazy shit y'all be doing. You think about the serial killers that have made history. Jeffrey Dahmer was from Wisconsin.
Another cannibal kind of thing.
And it's like, you don't think that shit pops off in Wisconsin, but it did. Yo. Let's bring it back to my hometown of Holland, Michigan.
Oh, God.
There's been so many murders that have been just brushed off. Recently, there was like a double murder suicide within the last 9 years that never made national news. Some of my friends live a block away from this. I used to live within 5 minutes of this when I was a child, when I was a youngster. This guy killed his wife, her alleged new boyfriend, and himself in their house. So it's no surprise that these kind of things like the Texas Chainsaw Massacres happen and no one ever knows about it till it's too late, because sadly, a lot of these nice suburban towns don't want to promote that.
Got another one for you. I used to live 10 minutes away from the John Wayne Gacy case. The guy that was dressed as a clown, like he used to work out as a clown and he used to work with children all the time. And then he, throughout the years, was trapping young boys into his house and killing them, and to the point where his whole entire basement was full of dead bodies. That was 10 minutes away from me in a small suburban, right outside of Chicago area, and I had no idea of it. I think it was like the early 80s, maybe a little bit before my time, but it was still right there. It was too close to home.
And that's the shit that scared me, the shit that happened in real life. Yes, Jason drowned in a lake at a camp and he came back because lightning struck his grave, whatever. But this shit that happened in our real hometowns, like that's some real shit.
So it's no wonder things like Edward Gein is out there boiling human remains and making curtains and shit. Like you would not know that unless you were his neighbor for some reason or you knew of him, but you wouldn't know that just by like pure like, oh yeah, that guy's crazy. No, he was in the sticks and you would have never have known him unless you knew him.
You've never told me about that John Wayne Gacy. That could have been your mom, your aunts and uncles. Holy shit.
We just took a break and I looked up the exact dates that were happening with this John Wayne Gacy thing. It was 10 years before my personal time, but my family has been in that same house for like years before that. My uncles were growing up in that house. My cousins were growing up in that house. I had family members that were in that house that walked to school through that area. Like, I'm talking, this was 10 minutes from my house. Like, they used to walk to school. Even I used to walk to school like through those like areas all the time. But you never know. And like, had he not got caught up with the cops at some point, they would never have known.
Yo, that's so. Ooh.
That was in the neighborhood.
Ooh.
And that's just a famous one. There's been other things that happened in my neighborhood, like not quite on that caliber, but things that were really scary.
Yo, I just started watching a YouTube video, Big Boss Bose. She does this true crime YouTube. Mm-hmm. She started talking about how many crimes go unsolved or unheard of. And when Shana just told me about that, if y'all ain't watching on YouTube, I'm just like warming up myself. I'm like stroking my chest because like your family grew up in John Wayne Gacy's neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. Like these are things that are just like, you know, fairy tales or horror tales. You know, just like Jeffrey Dahmer. I didn't even know till a recent time the whole Jeffrey Dahmer shit was in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. I was told that story as a kid. Exactly. I was told that as a kid. I thought Jeffrey Dahmer was like in like Russia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how far it was as a kid. But to find out he was as close as Wisconsin and say anime cons were going on at the time, Jeffrey Dahmer could have came down to ASIN and snatched up a kid just like that. And for you to tell me John Wayne Gacy was the next town over.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Luckily, it was boys that he favored, but it could have been anybody, honestly, because you never know with these people.
The Michigan references I gave were just people who had bitter grief with their girlfriends or their wives. Fun fact, my mom lives in a mobile home park where somebody within the last 10 years murdered someone else with a machete. This guy chased this other person down the mobile home park and slashed them up with a machete where this guy was dangling on limbs before someone called the cops. Mm-hmm. And the town my mom lives in is a pretty safe town. But again, that shit was brushed under the radar because they're trying to preserve this wholesome image of the town.
It's no wonder that someone like John Wayne Gacy, it took them so long to apprehend him after discovering 33 bodies in his basement or crawl space, wherever it was. And that's only because the cops came to his house for some reason, and one of the cops had to go use the bathroom. He happened to smell decay in the air, and he was like, what is that? Like, it was coming from the vents, and he's like, do you mind if I go down to your basement? John was like, sure. They just go down there, bust them. They just find all these, like, things down there. But that was, like, 10 minutes for me. Good thing that was, like, 10 years before my time. I thought it was, like, in the early 80s. Everything to me is, like, in the early 80s. I don't know. Like, I have that timeline in my head. But that just goes to show you a lot of these people are too close to home. And another one, before we move on from the subject, was the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, where we used to live.
Yes,
in LA. He was around that area where we used to live.
We lived right where he was killing people.
Yes.
And as we mentioned, one of our good friends, Sony Arlen, she stayed at the murder hotel.
The Cecil Hotel, where a body was found in the water tower.
Y'all have seen the viral videos about this Asian girl that was acting strange on the elevators, and then they found her body dead in the water towels.
It's called Stay on Main nowadays, and that was what it was called when our friend Sony was staying there. And as soon as I heard about that, I'm like, weren't you staying at that same hotel? And she's like, shit, man, yeah, I was.
Yo, we didn't even realize that we watched a Netflix special. I'm like, why does this hotel look so familiar? Because we dropped Sony off at that hotel.
And I feel so bad. Like, she's fine. Don't get me wrong. Like, she's fine now. But like, as we're driving off, I'm like, this looks weird. Like, even when we were sitting there dropping her off, I'm like, This hotel, for some reason, even though it was at night, like, it still had this eerie feeling. It was in the middle of downtown. Like, if you hadn't gone that specific way, you would never have found this hotel. That's how weird this shit was. Like, it was in the middle of nowhere, but it was still surrounding areas that you know. I felt bad leaving her. Like, had it not been like Anime Expo during the time, I would have felt even worse because not a lot of people would have been in the area during that time. It was just a fact that I just got these chills and these shivers Like, I felt bad leaving her behind. I'm like, you can just come stay with us. Seriously, like, we're 5 minutes down the street.
Because honestly, she was staying with us before the convention. She got there a couple of days early, and we're like,
I don't know why she stayed
you could stay with us, but she had paid money to stay at this hotel. And she's like, no, I got other roommates, and I'm going to stay here. And I'm like, but we live closer than that hotel.
It was eerie, man. Something about that stunk so bad. And I'm like, wow. Little did we know, stay on Maid, aka Cecil Hotel. Don't go there. Red flag. The scariest thing about that I wanted to tie in together about, John Wayne Gacy, these like local killers and everything. Someone like Richard Ramirez, right? He went from town to town to town. He didn't just kill in one area. That's why it was so hard for them to catch him. But that's what makes it so scary. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away, whatever it is. These people are mobile. They can go wherever they want. Even though John Wayne Gacy was only 10 minutes from my family home, he could have gone anywhere. He could have done anything. And just because Richard Ramirez proved that. He went everywhere. He did whatever he wanted, wherever he wanted.
For the American Horror Stories fans, what season was that?
That was the hotel season with Lady Gaga.
So that's your reference point. But that's how real that shit is. That Cecil Hotel, it does have some real history.
There's a whole documentary about him on Netflix, but he ended up at that Cecil Hotel, stay on Main, and he did some crazy shit there too. So,
with that said, we get into that time of the podcast where we should wrap this up. Shana and I are hosting a party, a cosplay Halloween party on Friday, October 22nd.
In Hoffman Estates, Illinois. If you're in the Chicago area, we're doing a party at Panic Escape Rooms. They have an escape room dedicated to the Warren family and the Conjuring series and the movies and everything. If you want to check that out, it's freaking amazing. It's rated number 2 on their least escaped room in the entire facility. So if you want to try it out, beat it and surpass it, then definitely go ahead. If you want to go toe-to-toe with Annabelle, definitely give that escape room a try.
A lot of y'all have been to the Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg. Panic Escape Rooms is like literally 5 minutes down the street. So if y'all can make it to Asen or Mitsuya, y'all can make it to Panic Escape Rooms to be a part of this party.
This is a party by cosplayers for cosplayers.
Mm-hmm. We have sponsors from special guests. We have a photo shoot area. Y'all get to try out these escape rooms and y'all get a special discount.
We also have a costume contest for you guys for the Halloween theme. That's going on this month. We got prizes for you from my dear friends at the Foamery. We got a big ass roll of high density AVA foam for you guys for your crafting needs. It's amazing foam. If you roll this thing out, you can make a sword, you can make armor pieces, you can make so many big item things.
And we also got other sponsors. We got my boy Lorenz Iwood donating patterns from his Etsy store.
And I know y'all been watching that Squid Games on Netflix. We got some Squid Game actual game challenges for you guys to win prizes from. Do not miss this. We love Squid Games just as much as y'all. I know y'all seen it. I know y'all probably just binged that show. We talked a lot about it in our last episode. So definitely get excited for this because this is going to be something you've never experienced before.
Friday, October 22. Panic Escape Rooms, Hoffman Estates.
22.
Ooh. Taylor Swift hashtag not sponsored because screw that bitch.
Hey, but speaking of Squid Games, hey, look at this shit. It's got the little elastic on it so you can put it on your face.
We got the frontman mask as well as the soldier mask. If y'all want one, make sure y'all pre-order now because we cranking these bitches out right now because everyone trying to jump on the Squid Game hype. So make sure y'all hit us up. But with all that said, make sure you check us out. If you want to support this podcast, you want to support Shana or myself, this is how y'all can do it. A lot of y'all be traveling so far for some bullshit ass anime con.
Oh, he said it. He said what he said,
No, I said what I said because a lot of you do travel to some bullshit ass cons. But you want to support some people and see where your money's going, come to this party because you can support us so we can bring you bigger events and parties and other shit.
I'm ready to wrap this up if you are.
With that said, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Shinobi Squad Podcast. If you want to support us, all the links will be below. I'm Fanservice Renji.
I'm Shana Mostella.
We shall see you guys next week. And happy Halloween month. Peace.
Happy Horror Month.
Happy Horror Month. If y'all about to get it in, yeah. Make sure y'all wrap it up before you clap it up.
I said horror, not
all right,
horror.
bye. I said horror. All right, we're done.